Okay.
How funny is a tornado?
Very funny. Stop.
Two. Go.
Action.
Has that started?
What's your name?
Mordechai Stern.
The same musician.
Ah.
It's our in-house guy.
What do you think? Some strange guy just came
Yeah, I wonder.
It's a walk-in today.
He attracts quite a crowd usually. But
And now let's get down and touch the table.
Is there a recording? You gotta do this guy afterwards.
That's cool. Misha's not coming. See that?
Is that coming?
It looks very much like Schreiber, no?
Chiv Chabur on the shot.
Aaron.
We're gonna knock it in,
Aaron,
right? We're gonna knock
Misha's
it right
not
in.
coming, so you don't need to wait for
It's
this.
true, he looks like Schreiber a little, no?
Yeah.
I actually got that.
Actually?
You passed me a chair.
No way. It's like a hint of Aaron Gunn.
Don't touch my keto. It's
I
going
want
to
it.
Our resting chip?
It's in a challenge.
Yeah, of course. It teaches them chip.
Copy going? Let's start this up, you know? Like one of those type of things.
It's not sugar pan.
Finish by 10:30 would be good.
Finish by 10:30.
What do you feel?
Sorry about the pan.
Show my laser.
You already started recording?
I don't know.
Good start.
Yeah.
It's already recording.
It's recording.
Hello, Ziskin family.
you would have a day.
No, it's not first thing.
I got it.
Yeah, Wicked won't take care of it.
Just put the phone
You're
there.
the right guy.
Need for anybody else?
Or the nurse.
Aaron. Misha.
Oh, wow. That's a buzzer.
That's the table.
I just want to.
Don't touch it.
Is
anyone who even know that?
joining us? Honored to have you here. I was just thinking when I was watching Yeshua prepares Chabura. It reminds me of something we see in Parshas Kisisa. It says that when they brought out the oil after the Chet Egel, it says they put it chutz l'machane, and it says that Kol Mavakesh Hashem had to go chutz l'machane. Mavakesh Hashem, they went chutz Haya Kol Mavakesh Hashem Yetzel oil Mord Hashem chutz l'machane. But the pasuk says after that there was someone that was even someone special. That wasn't high soul, wrong of action, but there was someone that stood out. It says, Mesharsa Yeshua, the new Narad Yomish Mitoich Oil. Yeshua was not just a Mavakish that here and there he went to the oil. It was Lo Yomish Mitoich Oil. He didn't leave, he stayed. It was Kavua. It says, the Tziv says, Lo Yomish Mitoich Oil. He stayed there to Lamud al Torah Shabbat Peh, which was a well that was coming out from the oil of Moshe. He did not want to turn away from his learning for anything. And this is what I thought of when I saw Yeshua Mamish preparing Sabura. He couldn't get him to do anything. Couldn't get him away from it. I think it's very big. This week's parsha, Yaakov Avinu, before he went to Lavan, it says that he went to Shivas Shem Ever, 14 years. Even though he was going to the Maisa he was going. Rivka sent him. He was going to build Kleisfer, to the Shvatim. And he took off 14 years before he went to Beis Lavan. Because he understood that when you're going to Beis Lavan, you need preparation. You need hachana. 14 years. It says, Vayishkav Makom Ahud, that when Yaakov Avinu finally went to sleep, it was after 14 years of not sleeping. He didn't sleep, didn't even lie down for 14 years, Hashem Ever. That's how much koyach he had to put in to prepare himself to go to Beis Lavan. Chaim Shmulevitz says that nowadays the ganze Welt is Beis Lavan. The whole world, we live in a world that's Beis Lavan. And we need preparation. We need a lot of preparation. But preparation means with all your koyach. I don't know if you're sure. I'm not sure if he didn't sleep too much at night. I don't know. But I saw today he was standing. He was standing for hours preparing this stuff. And I think it's something we should all learn from. It's, Hashem, he really put tremendous koyach into it. And Hashem, we should all be zeicher. We should all be zeicher to all our chaburas and our learning should come with the same bikush, the lo yomish v'toich ha'oil.
Thank you, Rebbe. First off, I would like to thank everyone that helped me with this chabura. I'd like to thank Rebbe. I'd like to thank Reb Chaim, Reb Gavi, for all the help you put in, and for giving me good leadership on this. Give me a good drive. I'd also like to thank my dad for coming here, all the way from Muncie. It's not an easy journey. A lot of danger on the road, highway robbers, and well. All right, so let's begin. All right, so basically this chabura is basically about the chiyuv chabura on Shabbos. All right, what are you chayav in chabura? So the Gemara Shabbos, Daf Tzadi Hey Amud Aleph, brings up the case of chaylev. Right, the case of chaylev is where a man is milking an animal, right? And the Gemara says that the chiyuv here is a chiyuv mafarik. Now Rashi explains that this chiyuv mafarik is a tolda of dash, right? A tolda of threshing. Now Rashi also brings up that there's another pshat that this mafarik is a tolda of kaitzer, of harvesting. Rashi rejects this pshat because according to Rashi's Metzius, that this milk, when it's inside the udder, it's not actually attached, right? And therefore you can't say it's a tolda of kaitzer, which requires a chabura, which requires chabura mechra, requires it to be attached. However, you could still say it's a tolda of dash, which would even apply at mifkat paket, says Rashi. Now Tosfos asks a kasha. Tosfos asks Rashi that we see, according to the opinion of the Rabbanan, that in order to be chayav dash, which Rashi is saying that mafarik is a tolda of, it needs to be something that's gedulei karka, right? And that thing that you're being mafarik has to be something that's grown from the ground. So how could Rashi say that you're chayav mafarik by milking an animal if an animal is not gedulei karka, an animal is not grown from the ground? So Tosfos basically explains that Rashi doesn't hold it, that man damri, it doesn't hold the Rabbanan who say you need gedulei karka. Rather, Rashi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, the dissenting opinion, who says that you don't need a gedulei karka. And therefore, that this case of animal, even though this animal is not gedulei karka, you'll still be chayav mafarik, which is a tolda of dash. And this chiyuv mafarik will apply. Now, the Rambam says the same thing as Rashi. He goes according to the Das Rashi and says that this chiyuv mafarik is also a tolda of dash. So the Maggid Mishnah raises Tosfos' question. All right, how could the Rambam say this if you're basically being mafarik from something that is not gedulei karka, right? This payment is not gedulei karka, and according to the opinion of the Rabbanim, right, it needs to be gedulei karka in order to be chayav. So even further, right, the Rambam actually says in Mishnah Torah straight out in Parakhas Halacha Zayin that an animal, that's something that's a tolda that in the malacha of dash, right, which mafarik is a tolda of, does require it to be gedulei karka. So we can't answer like Rashi did, like Tosfos answered according to Rashi, and say it's like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Because you see that he holds you do need gedulei karka, and Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that you don't need gedulei karka. So the Maggid Mishnah answers according to the Rambam, and says that according to the Rambam, he would hold that this behema itself is gedulei karka, and you could be chayav mafarik with this tolda of dash, right? Even though dash requires gedulei karka, because this animal itself is gedulei karka.
What makes it gedulei karka?
Gedulei karka. I looked inside. I couldn't really find, but I was assuming that because that the animal, or an extension, a person, right, who the Rambam would also be calling gedulei karka, since they're nourished from the ground, that they'd be considered gedulei karka themselves. Okay. So the Minchas Chinuch asks a kasha on Rashi, right? So in Parak Shemona Shratzin, in Masechta Shabbos, Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, it says that what are the Chiyuv Chaburis by Shemana Shratzim? Rashi explains that the Chiyuv Chaburis is either Tzeveah, right, coloring, or it's the Tiyas Neshama, right? So Minchas Chinuch wonders that if Rashi holds that the Chiyuv Chabur of Mefarik exists by Chaylev, right, by milking an animal, then why does Rashi also hold that that same Chiyuv Chabur of Mefarik would apply by the Sheretz? So Minchas Chinuch answers by pointing out Tosfos' reasoning of Rashi, right? Tosfos said according to Rashi before, that Rashi goes according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says that it doesn't need to be Gedulei Karka in order to be Chayav this Malacha of Dash. Right? Therefore, this Mefarik could be Chayav even though that animal was not Gedulei Karka by Chaylev. So, Be'emes, Rashi here by Shemona Shratzim, according to his own opinion, he would hold that you would be Chayav Mefarik by the Sheretz. However, since Rashi would say that according to the Rabbanon, who do hold that you do require Gedulei Karka, right? In this case, the Sheretz is not Gedulei Karka, according to Rashi. Only the Rambam is the one who says that an animal is considered Gedulei Karka. Rashi still says that an animal, or also a human, is not considered Gedulei Karka. He doesn't hold with that svara of the Rambam. And therefore, according to the Rabbanan, says Rashi, you have no Chiyuv Mefarik here. So Minchas Chinuch says that Rashi doesn't want to say anything, right? Doesn't want to say a tam. It doesn't go according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan. So since this would only be Mefarik according to Rabbi Yehuda, says you don't need Gedulei Karka, right? But it wouldn't be according to the Rabbanan who says you do require Gedulei Karka. Rashi admits it from his case. But by Emes he does hold it. So let's take a deeper look into the Shitas Rambam, right? So the Rambam says in Hilchos Shabbos Parachas Halacha Zayin V'Ches, right? He says a bunch of things, right? One, right? He says, like we already cleared, that Mefarik is a Toda of Dash, and not only is it a Chiyuv by Chaylev, but it's also a Chiyuv by Chaylev, one who damages a man or one who damages an animal. Second thing the Rambam says is that in order to be Chayav by Chaylev Behema, it needs to be L'tzarech Hadam. So when you're damaging this animal, you got to do it for the sake of taking its blood out. Why? Because if you're not doing it L'tzarech Hadam, then it's going to be Makalka. And even though there's a Chiyuv Mefarik, that Batur Makalka would say that in that case, there's no Chiyuv. However, the Rambam would say that when you're a Chayvel person, there are many instances in where even if it wasn't L'tzarech Hadam, you still wouldn't say Makalka, and you could still say the Chiyuv of Mefarik. Why? Let's say, for instance, a person is angry at his friend and he gives him a nice slug, right? Then that guy basically is cooling himself down. He's being Maskara his own das. Therefore, that wouldn't be Makalka, that would be Misake. He'd be helping himself out, and therefore, you'd even be Chayav from Mefarik there.
Dam, it's on the dam.
Tu got down.
To go down?
I'm saying only if you get a good sense.
Yeah, of course, it has to be done.
Dam comes down.
It has to be down because he doesn't hold it within Tiyas Hashem or Tzedeh, according to the Rambam. There has to be down coming out. Because the Rambam holds that in order to be Chayav by Chabura, you need a share of a Gregaris. So in this case of someone who's damaging a person, in order to be Chayav that din of Mefarik, you got to take out a share of a Gregaris of blood. It's got to be enough of a dry fig in order to be Chayav. You hold the same thing by Chaylev, the same thing when it comes to milking an animal, right? And in order to be Chayav Mefarik by milking an animal, it would have to be enough Chalav that's a share of a Gregaris. So Rambam also holds, like we cleared before, like we said earlier in the Hakdama, that he holds that in order for you to be Chayav, that this Mefarik, which is told of Dash, it must be Gedulei Karka. He holds like the opinion of the Rabbanan, and he says it beferish, right? We also said, according to him, as explained by the Magen Mishnah, he holds that an animal, and I guess a human for the same reason, is Chayav, right, by Mefarik, even though they're not Gedulei Karka, because they are considered Gedulei Karka, right? So another thing the Rambam says, right, is that there's no Chiyuv of the Tiyas Neshama, and there's no Chiyuv of Tzedeh. The only Chiyuv by Chabura is the Chiyuv of Mefarik. Now why doesn't he hold of the Chiyuv of the Tiyas Neshama? Because according to the Rambam, unlike Rashi and Tosfos, he holds that in order to be Chayav by the Tiyas Neshama, you got to be killing the subject, right? And according to the Rambam, in order to be Chayav by Chabura, all you need is a Gregaris. And therefore, he wouldn't hold that a Chiyuv Chabura is in Tiyas Neshama, because you got to go all the way. He also won't hold with Tzeveah. I wasn't very clear why he didn't hold with Tzeveah, but he basically would hold pretty much how Tosfos was asking on Rashi's Pshat by Shemona Shratzim. That he wouldn't hold with Tzeveah because maybe by Tzeveah there's no Tachlis, or maybe any of the many other reasons that Tosfos mentions in Direi Maskil Miflach Pakid. Okay, so an example, practical example of to apply the chiyuv of the Rambam would be in the case we said before by Rashi, Rabbi Shimon Shratzim. Now, according to the Rambam, by Shimon Shratzim, you would be chayav, but unlike Rashi, you wouldn't only be chayav according to Rabbi Yehuda, right? Who says you don't require gedulei karka, but he'd say that you're chayav even according to the Rabbana, who do require gedulei karka. Why is that? Because according to the Rambam, he holds that an animal is considered gedulei karka. So when you damage the sheretz is gedulei karka, and therefore you're chayav mefarik. Right? He also wouldn't say like Rashi. Right? Rashi over there by Shimon Shratzim said that there's a chiyuv of netilas neshama, there's a chiyuv of tzedeh. Right? He wouldn't hold like that, as we said above, because the Rambam doesn't hold with those chiyuvim. And another thing would be is that in order to be chayav, this chiyuv mefarik there by the sheretz would have to be l'tzarech adam, like we said before. Right? If it's not l'tzarech adam, then he'd be able to say that he's damaging the sheretz and it's makalka. Right? He's just doing destruction, and therefore it'd be patur because of that. So now that we got Rashi's pshat and the Rambam's pshat down, Minchas Chinuch brings a couple of bam kashas. Right? Minchas Chinuch asks on the Gemara on Kuf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. On Kuf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis, Rav Papa basically has a statement, right, that says that if this mayel, right, by bris milah, if this mayel doesn't do mitzitza, meaning he doesn't suck out the blood, then it's a sakana and you're going to fire them all. So in essence, what Rav Papa is teaching us here is that without mitzitza, when it comes to after the bris milah, there will be a sakana. So correct the Gemara, right? What is Rav Papa teaching us? His statement is unnecessary that there's a sakana here, right? We know for a fact that you could, because you could perform this mitzitza on Shabbos, thereby violating Isurei Shabbos, it must be that the only reason you could do that is because if you don't do that, there will be a sakana. Right? So the only reason that you could actually be over these Isurei Shabbos is because there is a sakana there. So why does Rav Papa need to tell us straight out, beferish, that if you don't say mitzitza, that there's a sakana? So the Gemara answers, right, and says that if Rav Papa didn't say this straight out, that without mitzitza there's a sakana, then we would establish our Mishnah that's saying that the dam by this bris, this dam is mifkad pakid, right? His blood is not attached. Thereby, you wouldn't be, now that we all know the Rambam and Rashi, it's going to be very shver. But according, right, in the Gemara says that, right, if you wouldn't say that it's a sakana, then you'd say that this blood, our Mishnah is talking about that this blood of the milah is mifkad pakid, it's unattached, and therefore, when you're doing mitzitza, you're not violating any Isurei Shabbos. Right? And since you're not violating any Isurei Shabbos, perhaps if you didn't do mitzitza, it wasn't sakana. It's not that you can only do mitzitza because if you didn't do it, sakana. It's mutter. There's no Isurim here. Right? So comes Rav Papa and says, if you didn't do mitzitza, there is sakana. Right? And it wouldn't just be a case of nifgad pakid, where there's no Isurim, that you'd be allowed to do mitzitza, but even in the case of Chaburei Mechber, where you would be either on the Isurei Shabbos, you'd still do this mitzitza, because if you don't do this mitzitza, it's going to be a sakana. That's what Rav Papa is telling us. Now, Minchas Chinuch brings bam, right? We saw, like we were explaining before, that according to Rashi and the Rambam, they hold that there's a chiyuv mefarik, right? Just to re-explain, mefarik is a told avdash, and he holds that this chiyuv mefarik is chayiv even in the case of mifkad pakid, right? Because we explained before about chaylev, when it comes to milking an animal, that milk is not attached to the udder, right? So when you're chayiv mefarik for taking out that milk, you're being chiyuv mefarik for something that's mifkad pakid, that's not attached. So you see they hold this chiyuv even in a place where there's no attachment. So according to Rashi and the Rambam, we now have a chiyuv chabura in a case of mifkad pakid. So the Gemara doesn't make any sense now. The Gemara was trying to say, according to Rashi and the Rambam, the Gemara doesn't make any sense right now. Because the Gemara was trying to say that if you didn't say the Rav Papa, right, we would say that our Mishnah is talking about dam mifkad pakid. Right? Because it's dam mifkad pakid, there's no isurim, and that's why you wouldn't know there's a sakana without mitzitza. However, according to Rashi and the Rambam, we would hold that even in the case of mifkad pakid, there is an isur of mefarik. And thereby, when you do mitzitza, even in a case where the dam is mifkad pakid, you're being iver an isur. And you would only be able to say that you're being iver this isur if you'd say that there's a sakana behind it. That if you weren't mitzitz, then it would be a sakana. Because that would be the only way you'd be able to be iver Shabbos in this case. Okay, so this Minchas Chinuch answers according to Rashi and the Rambam in this case. Right? Right? Minchas Chinuch explains that according to Rashi, right, we'd be able to explain our Mishnah very clearly. That Mishnah about mitzitza goes according to the Shita of the Rabbanan. Right? So what do the Rabbanan hold? Right? where we explain that the Rabbanan said that in order to be chayav this mafarik, which we established as a tolda of dash, right? It has to be gedulei karka, right? Rashi, on the other hand, as we know, held like Rabbi Yehuda, who says you don't require gedulei karka. So Minchas Chinuch says that according to Rashi, this Mishnah is going to be like the Rabbanan. Therefore, what? Therefore, in order to be chayav this mafarik in a case of mifkad pocket, it would have to be gedulei karka, right? According to Rashi, though, this baby that you're circumcising, right? He's not gedulei karka, and because he's not gedulei karka, you can't be chayav for this chiyuv mafarik. And therefore, according to Rashi, because the Mishnah is like the Rabbanan, there would be no chiyuv mafarik in this case of mifkad pocket. And therefore, if the Mishnah said that the dam is mifkad pocket in this case, then there will be no isser that you're being iver by doing this mitzitza. Right? And you wouldn't know that there's a sakana if you don't do the mitzitza. So comes Rav Papa and tells us that no, if you don't do the mitzitza, there is sakana. Right? And it would work even in a case like a Buri Mechper. Even in a case where you're either a Surei Shabbos, right? You still do mitzitza, because if you don't do mitzitza, there's a sakana behind it. Now the Rambam can't say like this. Right? We've explained that the Rambam holds like the Rabbanan, right? Well, you do require gedulei karka. And not only that, right, as the Maggid Mishnah explains, the Rambam holds that an animal and a human, for the same reasons, is considered gedulei karka. Therefore, this baby that you're circumcising, for sure you should be chayav this mafarik, right? It's gedulei karka. And therefore, according to the Rambam, even in a case of mifkad pocket, there will still be this chiyuv chabura. So, even without Rav Papa teaching us that without mitzitza there's a sakana, according to the Rambam, we know, right, from the case itself, even if you say the dam is mifkad pocket that our Mishnah is teaching, there would still be an isser that you're being iver, right? And you can only be iver this isser with mitzitza if behind it is a sakana. So what, according to the Rambam, what's Rav Papa teaching us? Gemara Shver, according to the Rambam. So the Minchas Chinuch explains that the first Minchas Chinuch offers up a tiny bit of an attempted answer. He didn't really say like an answer, but it's pretty much wrong. Right, he basically tries to say that one of the shittas of the Rambam that we said before, that according to the Rambam, it needs to be, if we're b'chayav by a chiyuv mafarik, it needs to be tzarech adam, right? Because if it's not with tzarech adam, it would be makalkal. So the Minchas Chinuch pushes off that you can't say that the Rambam wouldn't hold that there's a chiyuv mafarik here about mifkad pocket, right? Because this Moel who's doing this mitzitza, he's not doing it l'tzarech adam. Yeah, he's doing it to help the baby out, he's doing it to get the blood out, technically, but he's not doing it l'tzarech adam, he's not doing it to get the blood. So you might think, even according to the Rambam, there would be a patur, because it's not l'tzarech adam, and you'd say that it's makalkal. So we push that off by saying, though, even though there's no l'tzarech adam here, still, it's not makalkal, it's masakin. Why? Because this mitzitza, it's a malas haguf for the baby. Right? It helps the baby out. By sucking out its blood, it's healthy for the baby's body, and therefore there's masake in here. And even though it's not l'tzarech adam, the Rambam would still say that you're chayav because it's mafarik. That's what we're going to get to right now. So, the Rambam basically holds, right, in Parak Aleph Halach Zayin, that he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, right? The machlokes is Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, right? About what is the din of malacha she'ena tzricha legufa. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, you're still chayav for. According to Rabbi Shimon, malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, you're patur for. Now the Rambam holds like Rabbi Yehuda. So if we said that our Mishnah by Mitzitza is like Rabbi Yehuda, that even though, since you're not doing it l'tzarech adam, right? This Mitzitza is not l'tzarech adam, it's a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa. According to the Rambam, it wouldn't matter, right? He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, who says you're still chayav in that case, and even though it's ein l'tzarech adam, you'd still be chayav for this mafarik. However, says the Minchas Chinuch, our Mishnah of Mitzitza is going according to the Shita of Rabbi Shimon, who says that malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, you're patur for. Right? So even though the Rambam doesn't agree with him, it doesn't matter. You can answer according to the Rambam that that's the Mishnah's opinion. So because Rabbi Shimon holds malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, you're patur for, because when this guy's doing mitzitza, he's not doing it for the tzarech adam, therefore he's not doing it with tzarech legufa, right? You'd be patur in that case. You'd be patur by that case of mifkad pocket. And therefore by saying there's mitzitza in that case, if the dam is mifkad pocket, you wouldn't know that there's a sakana. Because you just said you can do mitzitza, perhaps because there's no Isurei Shabbos. Comes Rav Papa and says, that you can even do about that even without mitzitza, it's a sakana. Therefore, that even in the case of chabur mechbar, where you will be being either isurei Shabbos, right? You still do mitzitza because without mitzitza, there's a sakana. All right. So now works very nicely according to the Rambam and Rashi. So the Minchas Chinuch brings up another Bam Kasha on the Rambam. And this is a biggie. Right? In our sugya in Ksubas, right? It says Ve'en timsul emer dam nitgat pakid, the dam hu tzarech v'shari. Right? It says that if this dam basulim, right, is nitgat pakid, and you're doing the act for the sake of getting the dam, right? V'shari, it's permitted. Now, according to the Rambam, this is very problematic, right? We see before, number one, that the Rambam holds that in the case of nifkat pakid, as we see by Chaylev, you're still chayav, it's still mafarik, right? Because Rashi's mitzias by the like over there by Chaylev is that this milk is not actually attached to the others, right? So when you're chayav the chiyav mafarik there, it's a chiyav even though it's not nifkat pakid, even though it is nifkat pakid, right? So too, in this case, if you're going to say that this dam basum is mifkad pakid, according to the Rambam, mifkad pakid, you're still chayav. You're still chayav this chiyav of mafarik. And, says the Gemara, right, the dam hutzarach. According to the Rambam, right, we said before that if it's ladam hutzarach, that's when you're chayav b'chiyav mafarik. It's only when it's not ladam hutzarach is when you might have pater because of makalka. But if it's ladam hutzarach, that's when you're chayav, right? And even furthermore, we wouldn't have a problem that this basula is gedulei karka, because we know that the Rambam holds that a basula would be considered gedulei karka. So even though gedulei karka, we have a gedulei karka here. So according to the Rambam, this is all the trappings of being a perfect chiyav mafarik. So according to the Rambam, what's our Gemara saying? That dam nifkad pakid, dam hu tzarech v'shari. How does that? It's very problematic according to the Rambam. So we can't answer like we did before. Right, that our sugi is going according to Rabbi Shimon, that it's malacha shein tzrich legufa. Simple, because this case is not a malacha shein tzrich legufa. This case is litzarach adam, right? It's malacha shein tzrich legufa, and therefore you won't be able to sit at the Torah of Rabbi Shimon. You still totally be chayav. Maybe you'd say a huge chiddush, right? Maybe you'd think to say that according to the Rambam, you wouldn't be chayav, literally uprooting everything we already know, right? According to the Rambam, you wouldn't be chayav for mafarik in a case of mifkad pakid, right? So this takes us all the way back to Chaylev, right? So take us all the way back to Chaylev when the Rambam and Rashi said that there's a chiyuv by Chaylev of mafarik, even though according to the Metzias of Rashi, this milk is mifkad pakid. So we have to see that if the Rambam is not saying that by mifkad pakid there is no chiyuv mafarik, it must be that he argues with Metzias of Rashi. It must be he says that the milk over there by the case of Chaylev, that milk is attached, and therefore that's why you're chayav mafarik in that case, because that case is chabur mechbar. However, if it was unattached, he'd be saying that you're pater. Right? So this is very rough because it's not easy to say that someone is chaylek on mitzias. So Minchas kind of pushes us off gently and says this can't be an answer because there's no way that the Rambam is going to argue with Rashi's mitzias that the milk is chalav. It's not really found that people do that. So it really comes out in the end that the Rambam is very fair according to our Gemara. There's no reason in our Gemara, according to the Rambam, why there shouldn't be a chiyuv of mafarik. And yet our Gemara is saying that if it's dam nifkad pakid, right, the dam tzarech v'shari, it's permitted. It's the pella on the Rambam. Right? But even furthermore, just another proof just to say that the Rambam wouldn't hold that nifkad pakid you're pater from mafarik is because the Rambam holds that when it comes to zeisim v'anavim, right, when it comes to olives and grapes, he says that you're chayav from mafarik, right? For squeezing them. We see in a different halacha of the Rambam, right, in a totally different section of the Mishnah Torah, that the Rambam holds that grape and an olive is mifkad pakid. So you see, it's Meferish Rambam that he holds that mifkad pakid you're chayav for mafarik. You're chayav for mafarik by zeisim va'anavim, and those things are mifkad pakid. Must be that he holds that there's a chiyuv mafarik by mifkad pakid, and therefore that answer would not work. And the Rambam comes out sure. That's the MS.
What about Makalkel? What about Makalkel?
What?
Why can't you say it's Makalkel?
No, the Gemara
It's the dam utzar.
The Gemara is a shayla, but the Gemara is saying on either side, if it's dam nifkad pakid is what. The Gemara is a shayla.
Yeah, but on the side that
it's mashma the Gemara.
even if it's
we don't have a channel. The whole channel starts if dam mechbur mechbur. Then we can clear maybe something called or nothing. Smash if it's dam to fucking. Why is it possible?
Why is it open?
What?
Why is that?
That's the question. With the Rambam, if you don't look at the Rambam, it's fine. It's not a problem.
No, why is it
It's only if it's shine, if only if it's not, if the Rambam,
first
keep him in his pocket, it should be a shine.
You see, you only need a little tiny bit of blood. So the rest of the blood is only Darshana Skala.
It's not enough to
Talk some shit. You'll never get to
Still, that's Chatzi Shir.
You'll never get to
And the rest is just Darshana Skala.
Yeah, but we still have Chatzi Shir.
Still,
Chatzi Shir is a din in Shabbos that we ask or something,
It is
even when it's Chatzi Shir. Meaning, even if we'll say Shir Kagregus, when we have Chatzi Shir, it's also us.
Rav doesn't hold with Chatzi Shir.
What?
Rav doesn't hold with Chatzi Shir.
You have to find that Malcolm to say something like that.
We're saying Chatzi Shir.
Okay, so now it's a problem. We know it's a problem according to the Rambam. Why is it a problem according to Rashi, right? Rashi also holds that there's a Chiyav Mafarik, but Mifkat Paket, right? So why wouldn't Rashi hold that in this case you should be Chayav Mafarik? And the fact that the Gemara says in this case that you're permitted by a Masula, it should be a huge problem, right? But according to Rashi, it's not, right? Menachas kind of points out that Rashi would say here the same thing that he would say by the Mishnah of Mitzitza. And that would be that he attributes our sugya here in Ksubas, he attributes it according to the opinion of the Rabbanan. Right? Now the Rabbanan hold that you require Gedulei Karka if you want to be Chayav Mefarik. Rashi holds that a Basula is not Gedulei Karka. Right? He doesn't hold like the Rambam who says that a Basula would be Gedulei Karka. He holds that a Basula is not Gedulei Karka. Therefore, in this case, since the person you're being Mefarik on is a Basula who's not Gedulei Karka, and the Mishnah and the Sugya is going according to the Rabbanan, according to Rashi, yeah, there will be no Chiyav Mefarik there. That's why you'd be Shabbat. So, one final kasha on the Rambam, also from our Sugya, is, right, that our Sugya says that the first question of our Sugya says, Mifkat Paket, right, Umutter of a Chabur Mechbar Basar, right, that if it's Mifkat Paket, right, it's Mutter basically have his biyah. And if it's Mechur Mechbar, it's Asr. Now, let's analyze the Rambam a little bit, right? We said earlier that the only Chiyav Chabura, according to the Rambam, is the Chiyav Mefarik. We cleared earlier that the Rambam doesn't hold with the Chiyav of Netzias Neshama, and he doesn't hold with the Chiyav of Tzeveh. Now, the Chiyav Mefarik is a universal Chiyav, right? It's a Chiddush that it applies even to Mifkat Paket, like we see by Chaylik. It's a Chiddush. But it definitely applies by a case of Chabur Mechbar, right? According to the Rambam, this Chiyav that he holds, this only Chiyav Chabura, applies by both Paket and Mechbar. Therefore, what's the Nafkamina? What's the Gemara asking, right? If it's Mechur Mechbar, you say one thing. If it's Mifkat Paket, you say another thing. If it's the same Chiyav, it's the same thing. The Gemara doesn't even get into off to a start according to the Rambam, because according to the Rambam, Mifkat Paket and Mechur Mechbar would have the same dinner, right? If you say that you apply, if you say that you do apply Mefarik, then you say it's Asr by Paket and it's Asr by Mechbar. And if you say that you don't apply Mefarik, then it's Pater by Mechbar. Either way, you see the Gemara doesn't even get off to a start. Now we can basically also answer according to Rashi like we've been answering the whole time. Rashi and our Sugya holds like the Rabbanan. And because this Basula is not Gedulei Karka, therefore there's no Chiyav Mefarik. Because Rashi holds, because according to Rashi, this Sugya will be according to the Rabbanan who requires Gedulei Karka. According to Rashi, this Basula is not Gedulei Karka, right? And therefore there'd be no Chiyav of Mefarik. However, it doesn't stop Rashi, because Rashi still holds the Chiyuvim of Netzias Neshama and Tzeveh. Right? And because he has those Chiyuvim of Netzias Neshama and Tzeveh, he still has Chiyuvim by Mechbar that don't apply by Paket. And that's why you do have an Nafkamina between the two. And our Gemara will work out very nicely according to Rashi. Thank you.